can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Now, people, including people on this podcast, say, why do you respond to stuff like this? You're only just giving and highlighting people who are after the very reason they write stuff like this is because they get a bit of clickbait and they latch onto you like a parasite, and they gain strength by mentioning you and then mentioning the most inaccurate facts or the most inaccurate points about something that has occurred. Now, let me just give you the background to this. This is why I respond. This is nothing more. This is about Alice Costa, who I call the steeplechaser because she called me a buffoon and she doesn't like that, and I don't give a stuff what she calls me, but if you're going to give it, you got to cop it. But this is about a function I attended, and it is the most dishonest description of a function that I attended, and I have plenty of people to back this up. So this is nothing more than an attempt to garner a level of importance and attention that she is not entitled to and doesn't deserve. And this is how women get stereotyped as hysterical, shrieking shrews when they put out crap like this. This started because she piggybacked on the fact that someone had said that I was the worst interview they'd ever had on the radio, and I responded to that the week before and gave my version of it, which was far more accurate than the version that was portrayed. And so I wake up the next. Well, I don't wake up. Someone sent me this. This was as a result of that, and this was what Alice Costa, who should honestly, I don't know, this is the headline. Someone said, "Women, don't back down. It's time to make a scene." And I thought, someone sent me that, and I started to read it, and I found out this was about me. This was about me, and it was as a result of a function I attended called the $1 Million Charity Lunch, and I'll tell you how it unfolded. I walked into the $1 Million Charity Lunch, and we go through a tunnel there. It was well presented, and as we come out of the tunnel, there's a red carpet backing where the red carpet, in inverted commas, you get your photo taken, and this woman, Alice Costa, grabs me, didn't grab me, but she guided me over and said, "Could we have a red carpet photo of you?" And I said, "Oh, this will be good." Alice, I was quite affable and pleasant to her, and I said, "No, well," I said, "you're speaking to me now." I said, "Gee, usually you are abusing me." Just tongue-in-cheek stuff, and tongue-in-cheek stuff. So I had my photograph taken, and then I said, "Come over here." And I did. I put my arm around her waist very lightly, and I said, "Look, let's have a photograph together. There we are. Isn't that a nice picture?" Just tongue-in-cheek, couldn't be more pleasant. This was portrayed in an article she wrote, and it said, "When he grabbed me on the shoulders and pulled me spitting into my ear to go right about how he was now sexually harassing me, I again laughed him off, cajoling him so as not to cause a scene." Holy mackerel. The holier-than-thou crap, the sanctimonious bullshit of that. If for no other reason, if she's fair income, why would she be cajoling me and laughing it off? If you got your courage of your conviction, wouldn't you say, "Oh, don't grab hold of me and don't do all this"? So I put up with that. I didn't put up with it. I didn't know that that's what I was doing, because I wasn't. So she said, then I used these words. These are her words. Just tell me, do you think when I'm speaking to someone who I've just gone to a function and they've called me aside, she said I used the term ugly, old and fat to her? That is, I just can't tell you. That is just an imaginary nonsense that she says she was lying in bed. She said she she said she was lying in bed and was dreaming all this about how she should have pushed back on me doing what? She said I was sexually, it felt like I was sexually harassing her by having a photograph taken of her. So she said I jollied him, I presume there's another word I would give for when you jolly someone, I think. But she said I jollied him, meaning I don't know what that means, just laughing with him. I laughed him off, cajoling him. This is extraordinary. So we go into the function. And I sit down at a table and she said, he later appeared on the same table, a few placemats away from me. I later appeared on the table. I was an invited guest on the table. She turned up on the table and sat between me and sat one away from me, and I'll tell you who sat in the middle of me in a minute, in between us, because she won't have the guts to verify this, but she will. I know she has verified it because she's told me privately she does. And then she said, this is Alice Costa, the steeplechaser. She said, I started to eyeball her. I presume means intimidating it. She originally said that I was using this. She said I was a coward because she said she accused me of bullying and name calling. This is when she said I called her fat and ugly, and I didn't call her any of those things as if I would call her seriously. So then she said I delivered the coward's punch of verbal argument, the coward's punch of a verbal argument. Well, I'm very sorry. I apologise for Alice Costa not being able to think of anything smart enough to call me, or if my lexicon is a little more elaborate and a little more diverse than hers, it's not my fault that she's a dumbass and can't think of something to call me. It's a coward's punch of verbal argument. I mean, seriously. And then she said, I appeared on the same table as her, as if I sort of mystically wandered over to try and give her grief. I was invited and sat next to Anne Peacock, the great ex-host of the Crown Casino, John Stevens, the great musician. I sat next to the person next to me, I won't say who, and then there was Alice. And we sat there, and she said I eyeballed her. I don't know how she would know I eyeballed her unless she was looking at me, but I tell you what, right over Alice's head was the guest speaker, a woman who had survived cancer, which was what the point of the charity lunch was. Right over her head and past her was the person giving the chat about how she'd overcome cancer. Fantastic woman. And I was looking straight past Alice Costa, and every now and again I would look at her, and I'd look at anyone else, but it's pretty hard to stare at the same thing. She must have been watching me, because she didn't have her head turned around. She was watching it on the screen opposite, and she said I was eyeballing her. You cannot get a more disgraceful exhibition of misrepresenting an incident. If you read the article, it said you shouldn't put up with this sort of stuff, and I'm wondering why she put up with it if she was so aggrieved and found my approach so egregious. Why would she put up with it? She's only just being a coward to herself. Why not just come out and say, oh, Sam, stop looking at me, and stop putting your arm around me, and stop having a photo taken, and stop following me into the table. This is designed purely to do what's happening. Me giving oxygen to someone who should be ashamed of themselves. And if there was any suggestion, I think she was vaguely trying to get onto the fact that I was sexually harassing her by putting my arm around her to have a photograph taken. I don't mind getting a belting from people, but if you're going to make most of it up and just feel how hardly you've been done by, you should be ashamed of yourself. And if you're not ashamed of yourself, stop airbrushing your photos that appear on your byline photo in the paper. Just be who you are. I know I've had a bit of work done to my face, but don't just show people exactly who you are rather than thinking you're a Victoria's Secret model. So that's it. If you want to have another go at me, I'll respond every time. If you want to make yourself famous by getting clickbait things, I'll respond every time. But it's the most disgracefully dishonest portrayal of an incident, purely designed to garner some support from the pathetic people that sometimes write this crap about you, you know, the people who just are parasites who ride on the coat of stronger beings. And that's it.